Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Train World's Facebook Live. We have tons of great guests tonight. Very special episode. Tonight is going to be the first opening of the York Virtual Train Show. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on right now with the coronavirus, and unfortunately, certain train shows had to be canceled for everyone's safety. But we are doing our best to bring the train show to you guys virtually. And tonight we have a very special lineup, and just want to go around the horn, and hopefully we'll get a couple more people because we had some technical difficulties. But the first person I want to introduce is Jeb from Mega Steam Smoke Fluid. How you doing, Jeb?
Doing great, thank you.
All right. And then we also have Derek Thomas. How you doing, Derek?
Good evening. Good to see everybody out there in the virtual world. Thanks for having us, Kenny.
Thank you for joining us. Mike from TW Trainworks, and no stranger to the camera.
Is this the part where I talk?
Yep.
Oh. So, yep, hope everyone's doing well out there. I'm sure you guys are all cooped up in your houses playing with your train, so that's a good thing. And hope you're doing well, staying healthy, and hopefully we can show you something fun tonight.
All right. And also Roger Farkash of TW Trainworks as well.
Good evening. It's great to be here.
All right.
Let's be under the circumstances.
That's right. We're all doing our best. And Lou, the big Lou, we've spent a whole week trying to get you in. How you doing, Lou?
Yes, this is Lou Palumbo from Newcastle, Pennsylvania on audio. It's nice to be with everybody. Too bad our camera didn't work, but we'll do our best to entertain you tonight with stories about York.
Lou, it wouldn't be the same without you. So thank you for joining us. And I will say that we were hoping that Alan Arnold from the OGR Publishing could be on, but unfortunately he had his internet crashed as soon as we were going live. So we do apologize for the inconvenience, but hopefully he'll be able to pop on in a little later on. So we'll hopefully he joins us. But we are getting a ton of hello from all over Peace River, all these foreign countries. So thank you very much for joining us, John, Bob, Andrew. I'm sorry you didn't receive the notification, but hopefully you're joining on now. We got close to 200 people joining us, so we're fortunate to have everyone join us. Long Island, New York, Malvern, PA, Santa Barbara. Comment where you're from, and we'll try to give you a shout out. And great to see all these states: South Carolina, Vermont, Rhode Island, York, PA. Yes, we miss you. Douglasville, Georgia, New Jersey. Hello, Hakeem. Baltimore, Maryland, Georgia, Jacksonville, Florida. Stay away from the beaches, Randy. Arizona, Goodyear, Massapequa, New York, local, yes. Milford, Massachusetts. Thank you for attending as well. Fort Lauderdale, I can't even keep up. PA, Columbus, Ohio, Long Island, South Carolina, Utah. I could keep on going all night. Well, thank you everybody for joining. It really means a lot to us. Obviously the train industry and every industry has had a lot of challenges with this coronavirus. And first we want to thank all our first responders, people on the front lines, because you guys are doing a tremendous job, and we just give you guys so much credit. The coronavirus has hit everyone, every home, no matter what state, city, or country you're in. So we appreciate everyone out there. And hopefully we can provide a little entertainment, a little train enthusiasm for you guys, and kick it off. And tomorrow we also have another event with MTH, Atlas, Lionel, and Williams. So be sure to join. But the whole point of Virtual York is such a great train show, and we're all saddened that we weren't able to join this year. But we're fortunate enough to do it virtually and safely through the home. No, it won't be the same meeting and greeting, and we're all still going to miss it. But we're going to try to do our best to reenact York. And we got some of your regulars here. So let's kick it off. And Jeb has amazing smoke fluid. If you're looking for your steam locomotive to smoke like a chimney, Jeb has the solution. Jeb, why don't you start and kick it off for us?
Oh, great. I'll be happy to. Special thank you to you, Ken Jr. and Train World for the opportunity. And thanks to everyone who's tuning in. That makes this a great success. JT's Mega Steam is almost in its 18th year, and we're proudly made in the U.S. We're not reliant on any foreign nation, any foreign labor, any foreign materials or supplies. So that's kind of been our forte over the last 18 years, that we make it right here in the USA. We're very proud of that fact, and we control the whole process, so we know exactly what goes into each and every bottle. We have a special motto that we have, and that is we would never sell any product that we ourselves would not use in our own trains. And we are all hobbyists. We are pleased that we run everything and test everything on our layout. So we make sure that every scent is as close as possible. For those not familiar with our product, we manufacture 50 different scents of smoke fluid. The main idea behind the 50 scents is 2 golden rules. If she's not happy, you're not happy. And happy wife makes happy life. And we've all heard those before, but the worst scenario is to have your train smoking and have your spouse or significant other say, "Oh, that smells terrible, please turn that off." And that's why we decided about 14, 15 years ago to get involved with making scents of our smoke fluid and adding. We started off, I think, with 5 scents, 5 basic scents that would appeal to those in the family, not just the model railroader. And of course, from there, we added a lot of them over the years as people made suggestions, and we tried different formulas to come up with them. We have everything from the protocol scents of coal-fired steam, which is very realistic, to the holiday and fun scents like Christmas pine and hot chocolate. And just coming off the holiday, back in November and December, the Christmas pine and the hot chocolate were very, very popular, with people operating their trains under the Christmas tree or showing off for their grandchildren. Our product is widely known, producing large plumes of smoke, a light, pleasant scent, and quick dissipation, so it doesn't fog up your train room. It's safe in all manufacturers' smoke units and all scales, and we make our smoke fluid to be what many call the world's finest smoke fluid. Some new items are being released, and we had them ready for York, and I'd like to take just a moment to tell you about those because they will be helpful to you no matter which smoke fluid you use. First of all, there's been a lot of requests over the years. We have our 8-ounce bottle, which is our refill bottle, and the new product that we have is an eyedropper, a supersized eyedropper that fits the threads on the 8-ounce bottle. So what this means is you can use this long eyedropper with the refill bottle and save you having to pour it or somehow mix it into the other smaller bottles. So this makes life very easy. And these are available online, ready to go. We have a stock already built up for York. And so we hope that you'll find this to be very useful, as it does fit the 8-ounce bottle. The other item that we have, which will be of interest, is another eyedropper. This eyedropper, I don't know if you can see it, but it's graduated. We have lines on it that tell you the amount of fluid that you're putting in. One of the things that we've encountered is that a lot of people are sort of afraid, how many drops do I put in? Or how much is a drop? That's debatable, because a drop is a drop. And if the owner's manual says 10 to 20 drops, then you put in 10 to 20 drops. But this will help people realize that it's graduated. Let's see if we can maybe pick that up. There's a little bit there you can see. So that'll make life easier for those people that are precision people that want to have just the right amount going into their locomotive. In addition to that, I just want to take a moment and talk about one of our great products that we've had that's continuing to be a success, is our Eliminator. This is a special blend of smoke fluid that cleans out the wicking materials in the smoke unit. It's like vitamins for your smoke unit. And this is a product that comes in the blue bottle. You use it just like smoke fluid, and it usually takes about 3 or 4 filling cycles to bring your smoke fluid back to 0. We had thought about calling it cleanse, but that's not a very good marketing word, so we came up with Eliminator. And what we found is that when you buy a brand new locomotive, unfortunately, they're usually primed overseas with some, let's say, not such good quality smoke fluid. And we were frustrated ourselves as hobbyists, because we'd start up a new locomotive and the default setting is smoke on, and you get that smell right away that tends to offend those around you. So this Eliminator will take care of that. It will completely clean out any of those scents that you might have acquired, or if you bought something off the bay or borrowed one or saw one at a show that you purchased that had been used before. And a lot of people use strange things for their smoke fluid, and it can smell pretty awful. So the Eliminator will take care of that. The next item that we have that not everyone is familiar with is called Be Gone. This is an external cleaner for any fingerprints, smudges, oil spills, smoke fluid spills on the shell. And it's safe for plastic, metal. It doesn't harm the decals. And we suggest just a shop cloth, like you can buy at any of the superstores, to use with it. It comes in a spray bottle, so that you don't mix this up and think that this is smoke fluid coming from Megasteam. We want to make sure that people understand that. And it's been very helpful. Everybody gets smudges or fingerprints on the shell of the locomotive, whether it's plastic or metal, and this takes care of that, makes everything look like new. One of our testers who said he was happy to try it, he tried it on a 1920 vintage set that had gotten some dust on it over the years. We didn't know that he was going to use this as a test, but he said it made it look just like new, and he was very pleased with it, which we were pleased. We thought the product would be that good, and it was.
And Jeb, just to chime in, you're getting so many comments about people loving the different flavors of your smoke fluid. People love bacon. They want to see apple pie. What's the craziest request of scented smoke fluid that you ever received?
Well, we had someone who just this last week wanted us to come out with pink and blue. They were having a gender party, for an
Oh,
unborn baby, and they wanted to know if we could produce a smoke fluid that would be either blue or pink, depending on the newborn.
very
So
interesting.
that's very interesting. But
Are you
for the
able to
most,
do that, or?
we passed on that.
Yeah.
Uh, I was
Okay.
very kind to the person that suggested it,
Yeah.
but you know, I suggested maybe something like candy cane or very cherry or something that would be pleasant, or vanilla, which is the wife pleaser. We've saved marriages with vanilla, literally.
That's funny.
And
And
we had an older gentleman. He comes by at every York. We won't see him this time, but hopefully he's watching tonight. He operates his train, and he loves to make the smoke. And he waits until he hears the tapping on the floor above from the kitchen, and he knows that that means turn things down a little bit. His wife gives him that Morse code on the floor.
very
So
funny.
I think our strangest opportunity was one Christmas Eve. We received a phone call not too long ago. We were ready to close up. It was about 6:30. We wanted to go see the grandchildren and so on. And the gentleman called and wanted to know, he says, "You got to help me. I don't know where to put the smoke fluid." And my question was, "Well, I'll do the best I can. Do you have a diesel or a steam engine?" He said, "Buddy, I don't know." He says, "We just put the train under the tree." I said, "Do you have the owner's manual?" "No, the kids tore that up."
Okay.
So we went about describing what he might have. Is it pretty shiny and red or blue, or does it have a rounded front? Is it black? Well, we thought it was black, and it had a car behind it that held coal. So then we had to talk him through it. And he said, he put the phone down, and he said, just give me a minute. Hold on. So he went and he put the smoke fluid in the locomotive that he had, and he comes back to the phone. He said, "I think it's working now. What do I do? Do I turn it on?" I said, "Yeah, turn it on. Run around the track." Put the phone down again, and he comes back and he says, "It's working great. You saved Christmas. The kids are going to be delighted." So that was the most exciting one that we'd had at the 11th hour on Christmas Eve.
That's great. Very
I
nice.
wanted just to take a moment and tell you about the top 5 sellers, because a
Yeah.
lot of people ask us, what are the top 5 sellers?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The coal-fired steamer still is number 1. We have made some additions to that. We've changed the formula a little bit in 2019. We didn't tell anyone, but I've been observing a lot of steam engines up at Strasbourg last year, because it was a super year for the steam engines up there, and walking up close and getting the smell of a real steam engine. And so we made some modifications that actually improved it. And it's very realistic smelling now. It's not as strong as it used to be, but it's very tolerable, and it smells just like a real steam engine. And that would be followed by the Big Boy Premium Blend, which was made especially for Train World. You guys gave us the opportunity
That's right.
the suggestion to do that.
Yeah, that's when Lionel just came out with their new Vision line Big Boy, and that engine was the biggest amount of pre-orders on an O-scale engine we have ever seen, and especially for the dollar amount, it was just unbelievable. People were going crazy for this thing. It had like a new depleting coal load, so you came out with this Big Boy smoke fluid in, and everybody just went crazy, and your smoke fluid we actually use in our store, and the engines, the amount of smoke that comes out using your product is just unbelievable.
Well, thank you. The Big Boy Premium, you don't have to have a steam engine or a Big Boy to actually use it. A lot of the guys that have steam, they operate the Big Boy scent because they like that as well. But of course, if you have a Big Boy, you got to have the Big Boy
Yep.
smoke. Then we have Nada, which was something that we came out with, I guess, about 6 years ago. We had a lot of requests from people that had allergies or spouses or children that were sensitive to the smell of smoke. So we developed one called Nada, which is no scent. It's not just pure oil. It actually has additives that take away the smell of smoke. And our first client that tried it, he called back and he said, I got to have 2 large bottles. My wife says it's okay. He says, you don't understand. I have 22 engines. I've never been able to use the smoke all these years until I got nada. And then the original cedar, which is like the American Flyer scent that brings back memories. And then our fifth in the series would be the Christmas pine, because everybody wants the Christmas pine, especially during the holidays.
Yep.
We have a couple hints that I'd like to leave with everybody that we've developed over the years and things that we've noticed. And when you set your smoke unit for on, medium is by far the best. When people set it to high, it will smoke a lot, but it also heats up a lot, and the heat will tend to take away the scent. It burns off the scent off the fluid, and then they're just left with an oily smell. So medium, we've tested it many times, and the medium will give you a large amount of smoke, but you don't have to go to the high setting. And it also saves your wicking material from the eventual scorching if you run a little bit, you know, light on the oil. If the oil runs down, the smoke fluid gets low, you don't want to scorch that, or that causes other problems for you. So it'll prolong the life of your smoke unit. The other thing that we have is when you have an eyedropper in your bottle, before you put it away, when you finish, if you empty the fluid out of the pipette, in other words, a lot of people just throw it away, put it away with smoke fluid in the pipette. Just take a moment and squeeze that out, and then you can set it aside, and it'll prolong the life of that rubber bulb. Oil and rubber never mix, but this will prolong the life of it. Of course, if you need a replacement dropper, we do sell those as well. We do have a large inventory that we prepared for York, which we always do. Some of it you can see behind me that we wanted to show off. That's not a backdrop, that's actual bottles ready to go. Naturally, we practice MTO, which is made to order. We sort of copied the big guys with that idea. Most of our smoke fluid is made within 2 days after we receive an order, so it goes out fresh, and that prolongs the life of it. Our normal shelf life is from 3 to 5 years if you store it correctly, and correctly would be in a cool place, dark, away from direct sunlight. So those are just some solutions or suggestions that will make your life more fun with the smoke, and we hope that you enjoy your model railroading. Customer service is our specialty, and we look forward to helping anyone with any question that they may have. They know when they buy our product, if there's ever a problem with it, we make it right, and we take care of things right away. We don't have a stack of complaints waiting for our answers. We like to deal with our customers on a one-to-one basis. And I just wanted to say we appreciate everyone's support for our product. And thank you for tuning in tonight. And we hope we continue to have a lot of fun. Thanks, Ken.
Thanks, Jeb. That was great. And Jeb has so many different flavors, scents, and you guys were all chiming in. And we also do carry the Mega Steam Smoke Fluid brand. So you could see here different flavors and scents that he has. And Jeb's got a really tremendous line, and any kind of flavor you think that he's got it. So thank you for sharing that, Jeb. And Jeb is actually a regular at York, so it's nice to see him and appreciate it. And for those that know are asking, that is Jeb from Mega Steam Smoke Fluid. And Jeb's a great guy. If you have any questions, you could ask him. And it's great to see everybody coming up with new flavors for Jeb. So Jeb, you may want to check this thread afterwards and just think about all the new flavors you could come up with. And you also got a big fan, Carl. So he said thank you, Jeb. So
Well, thank you.
but so thanks, Jeb. We're gonna try. We were supposed to open up with Alan, and we're gonna see if we could actually go to him now. Alan, are you there?
I am here finally.
All right.
A rocky start, but I made it.
That's it. Alan was on practicing with us, and everything was up and running. And 10 minutes before, he told me that his internet crashed and couldn't get back on. But we made it, Alan.
Well, yeah, we're having a local storm here right now. Storms are going through the area. And I don't know if it had anything to do with it, but about the time that 6 o'clock came along, we went down. But we're back up, and I don't know how long, so I guess I better get started here, huh?
Yep. And this way, you guys know, Alan Arnold is the CEO publisher of OGR Publishing, or O-Gauge Forum. And I got, I'm not sure if you guys could see that, but the magazine here. And this was February, March edition. And you actually talk about the Blue Comet in this one. So Editor's Corner,
Right.
Alan Miller wrote this article. And so I actually read this, continuously, and see what everyone's doing in the industry, and get all the latest news scoops, highlights, and it's a great thing. And I also go on the O-Gauge forum, check it out. So you're doing great things over there, Alan.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Kenny. I can tell you that if it wasn't for our readers and our members on the forum and our sponsors and advertisers, we wouldn't exist. And so I want to start this out by thanking every one of you for your support, and especially now as all of us are being challenged a little bit with the COVID virus. But anyway, some of you that are watching may not know that OGR is still celebrating its 50th anniversary. Last late spring, I believe June timeframe. And we are still celebrating. We'll do that through June of this year. And we've done several things to call attention to the 50th anniversary. Introduced several specials. Some of you last summer and fall took advantage of those specials that we had. They discounts on subscriptions primarily. We had some special articles about the history of the magazine and of the industry, highlighting several of the movers and shakers out there. And so we've been having a really good time, and you all have made that possible. We had a big birthday party that was hosted by the New Jersey High Railers over on their huge layout. That is a stunning layout. Anyway, they helped us celebrate our 50th anniversary, and they had a big blowout birthday party for us, and several hundred people attended, where we had several of the manufacturers get up and make presentations, and we just had a really good time, and we want to again thank the New Jersey High Railers for doing that for us. Anyway, Kenny was holding up one of our magazines, and here's our latest edition right here, Run 311. Most of you that are subscribers should have this already. Run 312 just went to the printer yesterday, and it will be mailing out to our subscribers about the 12th of May, I believe, is what the mailing data showed. So anyway, I wanted to celebrate this virtual York in some way that would benefit as many people as possible. Since we all can't be at York, and we'd like to be, we thought that what we might do is we might do something similar to what we would have done at York and offer everybody out there some deals, almost like a virtual. You stop by the OGR booth, and those of you that do that when you are at York, you'll note that we usually have something going on there, some sort of special. So what I've got here, hang on. I put this on a piece of paper because Rich Melvin, who used to be the publisher, is now our technology manager, told me that I need to do this, so I'm doing it right now. Anyway, I hope everybody can see this. I'll leave it up while I'm telling you about it. We're going to offer a 50% off OGR digital subscriptions, and that's for new subscribers. So it's 50% off. We want to introduce new people to it. Those of you that have it, we've already offered you several times a 50% off deal through the late fall and early winter, and many of you took advantage of it. But new people that are watching on Facebook that aren't aware that we're available digitally, here's your chance to take a look at us, 50% off. And then we're also offering 20% off all of our Ameritown buildings. As a matter of fact, all of our product, when you go onto our web store, you will see that special 20% off. Now, when I say go to our web store, it's not really there right now. It will be as soon as I finish. But what you'll have to do is, if you look at the top of this piece of paper, just type into your web browser ogaugerr.com/York. Okay, ogaugerr.com/York. So you might want to copy that down. That's a special landing page, and when you go there, you're going to see these 20% off deals. Now, the 50% off digital subscription, you can do that through our web store right now. You can go there, and it'll take you to it. So as soon as I finish doing my presentation, I'm going to activate this page so that you all can get to it. Matter of fact, you might be able to start using it now because I just pressed a button over here, so it should be ready to go. So there you go. Now you'll note that when you go to take advantage of these on the digital subscription, your special York code is already in there, so it's already pre-calculated. It'll show up at $14.99 instead of $29.95 or $99 or whatever that is. And then on the Ameritown, you will have to put in York in the coupon code area, okay? But you'll see that it's very easy to do, and we want you to take advantage of these, and hopefully that will make up a little bit for not actually being at the York meet.
Now you have some layout behind you, Alan.
Oh, well, thank you. This is my layout.
Wow.
I'll kind of pan around just a little bit for people to kind of see it.
Wow, very cool.
There's a lot more. There's quite a bit of the layout to my well, let's see here. It would be to my left, and then a little bit to the right. I'm having a little unfortunate occurrence taking place here. We had some storms, and wouldn't you know, the roof on the layout was damaged, and a little water got in, and I have a refinery down here beneath me where I'm sitting right now that got actual weathering took place on this refinery.
There you go.
But anyway, yeah, that's the layout, and I've been working on it for, let's see now, since 2008. And by the way, there are structures on here. Some of you really can't see them, unfortunately, but there's some behind that skyline there that are from TW Design. We have I purchased some of their excellent buildings and kits, and I've included those on the layout. But yep, that's the layout. And by the way, the layout will be featured in Run 314. So that will be coming up, run 314.
I hope you
312
know
is coming
someone
out.
to get into the magazine.
What's that?
I hope you know someone to get into the magazine.
I don't know. I had to beg. I've been begging, and they've been resisting. They told me they didn't want me in it, but you know, I bought enough stock. I guess I can be in it now. But anyway, but we appreciate all of you, and we really encourage you to enjoy the hobby and to work on your layout and to read our magazine, subscribe to it. I think you'll really enjoy it, and test some of our products too. We make wonderful products, the kits and the detail parts. They're great. And by the way, right now, everybody, it doesn't matter if you subscribe or not, we opened up our digital video library so that everybody can view it for free. You don't have to pay anything to get those videos now. We're doing this because everybody's home, and you know, we want people to have something to do and to enjoy their time while they're inside. And so just go to our webpage and look at the top of the page. You can go to the forum, same thing, and click on the digital libraries, and then click on the digital video library, and all of those videos will come up, and you can download them, watch them, and even save them if you want to. I believe there's a way to save them. At least some of you will be able to do that.
Yeah, and that's great, Alan. We really appreciate that. And you're getting so many people comment that they just ordered or they have the magazine. So great feedback there. And thank you very much for giving the discount code to join the magazine for new members. So we really appreciate that you could offer it to everyone out there. And
Well,
the amount of views today are going crazy. So
well, one of the things that I'd like to tell people before I leave here is talk just a little bit about the forum. You know, we've been talking about the magazine, but the forum is a very important part of O-Gauge railroading. And this forum, it's just incredible. We have working relationships as far as keywords that we develop for our standing on the internet when people are doing searches. And Yahoo and primarily Google have shared with us that our forum is the busiest of its kind on the internet. Right now, we have approximately 26,000, it's somewhere in that range, registered members. But we track activity on the forum, and any particular month, especially the last 6 months, we've been tracking in the low 90,000 some odd, 93,000 IP addresses that are landing on our forum and interacting in some way. So even though we have 25,000 members, we have 3.5, 4 times that many IP addresses that are visiting. So most people that are there and they're interacting with the advertisers' banners and many of our sponsors and advertisers on the forum post on a regular basis. They promote themselves on there, which they can do as a sponsor of the forum. And one of the things that I want everybody to realize is that there are far more people visiting the forum that are not members than are. And so it's a very, very just incredible place to go to learn about this hobby. A lot of sharing on there, and we have a bunch of different categories that you can go to and do a search and look up just about anything. And if you don't want to do that, all you have to do is post a question, and I guarantee you're going to get an answer. Sometimes the answers may not be what you want to hear, but but we have a group of people on there that are very knowledgeable about all aspects of this hobby, and they're so willing to help. So it's a wonderful resource for everybody. I encourage you to join if you haven't. It's free, costs nothing. So you can go there, join, participate. It's a one-stop shop, you might say. Most of the movers and shakers in the hobby that are from manufacturers to hobby shops, they're there. They've got their banner ads up. All those ads are live links right to their website, right to their order pages. We have an index that's in the featured topics that you can go to and look them up alphabetically. And it's just a great place. And so I want you all to know that we invite everyone to consider coming aboard. Last month, we had over 9 million page views. 9 million page views. That's pretty busy place. So anyway, Kenny, I want to thank you for inviting us to participate, and it's an honor to be here. And if anybody has any questions or anything like that, feel free to contact us. You can contact me. You can look up on our website. All of the OGR staff's emails and contact information is there, and we have an open door. You can just email us. Let us know what you need.
Thank you, Alan. I appreciate you being on. And also, one thing I did want to mention that, during York, you guys also host this event every York that, all your forum members attend. And usually it's like Quaker Steak and Lube, or sometimes you move it around. And it's a great thing for everyone. It truly makes York feel like a family, which is, the whole sense of York.
Yeah. Well, I learned a little bit about how that event got started because I'm relatively new to OGR compared to probably all of you that are on here tonight. I came aboard with the company back in 2013. And so my first York, when I went there, I don't even know how to describe it to you. I was in absolute heaven, shock, couldn't believe it. It's just, I never saw so many trains in my life. And of course, I learned about the night that the OGR crew gets together with everybody that's at York. Basically, I mean, it's a forum event. They have called it a forum event, but we welcome anybody to go there. But OGR can't really take credit for really starting that event. I think it started with just some forum members that decided that they would get together at York, and then OGR started, of course, attending. Because it involved us and our members, and we, wanted to be part of that. And I believe we started bringing our banner there and putting the banner up so people knew where we were sitting, where we were meeting, and wherever it was in those days. Some of those places don't exist anymore. But anyway, it sort of got pegged with becoming the O-Gauge Railroading Forum's dinner, the get together where we all sit down and have something to eat and get to know one another. And hundreds of people show up for that. I don't get out of the hall in time. There have been many times I have not had anywhere to sit. And so I've had to go across the street to get something to eat because there was so many people there that there was, I couldn't sit down.
Yeah.
So it's a well-attended event. And of course, the other thing that we host at the York meet, that Ed Boyle is the actual host of, that is our meeting, our grandstand meeting, and it occurs where we Ed hosts it, and he invites various manufacturers and other people to come and present what they have to offer, where new product announcements are made, things like that. So it's also a very well attended event. Generally, there's very few places to sit down, once everybody gets in to that event. So we host that as well. But yeah, those are two things that are, OGR type events.
Yep, that's great. And your magazine, I read religiously, and we appreciate everything you do for the hobby, Alan. We truly do. And glad you were able to make it, thunderstorm and internet and all.
Well, I appreciate you guys waiting for me, and for a while I think I was going to make it. I tried 3 or 4 times, and it finally just magically came back. So everything worked out okay after all.
All right. And,
all right.
Thank you, Alan. And on to our next guest. Some of you may recognize his voice, and I've actually been on his show as well. Derek Thomas of Notch 6, but he's also dabbling into some other ventures as well. It's pretty amazing. He's now doing rail and road auctions, and he's also part of the Madison Hardware book. And how you doing, Derek?
I'm good, Ken. Thanks for having us. I guess I'm starting to get a reputation as a serial entrepreneur here. You guys know me from Notch 6 since 2013. We did the Madison Poster Company. We did the Madison Hardware Story. And now we've moved on to the next adventure, which is rail and road auctions. And that is why the podcast has been quiet for going on. Shoot, it's been January, so we're heading into May. So it's been a few months. I promise we will get back to the podcast. So for those of you who have been loyal listeners for all those years, I promise I will come back at some point. But we have a really exciting event coming up here at the beginning of June. It's Saturday, June 6th, and it is a railroad art auction. Nothing like this has ever happened before that I'm aware of an art auction that is strictly railroad related. And part of the core of this railroad art auction is actually part 1 of the estate of the late, great Richard Kuhn, who many of you know was the owner of Lionel for many years. And his family has entrusted us with going ahead and moving some of his art out of the estate. And so not only his art, but we're gonna go on a little virtual art tour this evening. The guys are watching behind me, the other presenters. And by the way, stay tuned for the guys from TW TrainWorks. They have some cool stuff to show you this evening. But we have artwork from Angela Trotta-Thomas, a number of items from her, originals and prints. We're gonna flip through just a couple of them here. This GG1, and then this New York Central, both original oil works on canvas, will be part of the auction.
Cool.
Yeah, let's flip over to this one. Many of you are familiar with this painting. This one is Window Wishing. This came out of Richard Kuhn's personal collection. This is print number 1. Now, the cool thing is that Richard was able to get print number 1 of all of Angela's early prints throughout the years. And so you'll see some of these number 1 prints in this auction, and then we have another full auction coming this fall that will have many of her early original works. And not only do we have work from her, but we have other artists. This is one of my favorite paintings in the auction. This is by a gentleman by the name of Robert L. Hunt, who if you are familiar with the Orange Hall at York, you may have seen this painting just down, I can't remember which aisle it is. I think it's one of the D aisles. But this painting, this original, will be part of the auction. The Veranda Turbine original that you see behind me will be part of the auction. And then the next picture I'm going to show you guys has a really cool story behind it. And for my Lionel historians out there, especially the modern era guys, go dig through your catalog collections. So in 1997, an artist by the name of David Snyder was commissioned by Lionel to do a series of paintings that would be used as catalog art in the catalog. What's interesting is this Mohawk painting was never actually used. Lionel rejected this painting and asked David to hold on to the painting, and basically he did another painting of the Mohawk. And so these were, I think, the 97 or 98 Heritage catalog. So anyhow, we have a painting that was intended to be catalog art that never actually was used as catalog art. That has been consigned for this auction. So, and David has also included a really cool, it's almost like a leather-bound copy of the catalog that he has personally signed. So that'll be part of the auction on June 6th. We have some great lesser-known artists. The picture you're seeing behind me is called Hot Lunch, and it's by an artist by the name of Eric Smith, who's out of California. And he just does some incredible work. And believe it or not, this is something he does as a hobby. This isn't anything that he does full-time. This is his hobby. He's actually just a really talented individual, and he has 3 paintings in this. The next painting I'll show you, this one's called Coming to a Stop. Many of you will recognize Santa Fe 3751. This is from an artist by the name of Keith Batchelor. Keith actually worked for Disney for many years. If you are familiar with Disney's animated work from the mid-1990s, he actually did the posters for Pocahontas, Beauty and the Beast, a number of Disney animated films. He was the artist behind doing the movie posters. So, and this is, the railroad art is something he has tried on the side, and so he's consigned some really beautiful artwork to this event. Flipping over for more from the Angela Trotta Thomas / Richard Kuhn portfolio, these are some of the paintings, and again, serial number 1 of 350 from Angela Trotta Thomas. Let's see.
Yeah, and Derek, just if I could chime in here.
Sure.
Richard Kuhn was a titan at Lionel. I mean, many people know him already just by the name, but he was very well established. So these are actual paintings that he owned in his private collection that Derek is auctioning off. So
correct.
It's pretty cool, and their family was actually big into cars as well. I know you're into rail and road auctions, so I think it's pretty remarkable that unfortunately he passed away, but his family entrusted you to auction off his private collection. And I think that speaks volumes about the character of yourself, because if I were in a similar situation, I would personally love to have you do it, just knowing how much trains mean to you, and that you'll find it a good home. So
well, I appreciate that. And the one thing I've learned is most of us that are involved on the business side of this, whether it's yourself or Jeb or the guys at TW or Alan over at OGR, you don't get into this business to make money. You get into it because you're passionate about it. And luckily, there are a number of business folks in this hobby that have founded really successful businesses based on the fact that they're just passionate about it and they serve people well. And that's really what we set out to do with Rail and Road. You know, it's all about relationships. It's taking care of people, and you know, and what we found is there just happen to be some niches that are really underserved in the auction industry, to be quite honest with you. And that's in railroad art, which almost happened by accident, and Rarityana, and we're also doing some vehicle art and some vehicle-related things. So yeah, it really is just an exciting adventure for us. I'm going to show you a couple more paintings. This one again from Richard Kuhn's personal collection. This was a Lots painting in 1997. Many of you will recognize the turntable at Steamtown. This was the print for Lots that year. And so serial number 1 will be in this auction.
And Rich Foster from MTH wants to know if there's any paintings of himself.
No. So there was one of Andy Edelman. I don't think it's going to make the sale this time. I think there's some legal issues with that we have to do with Andy before we put that up for auction. So, But no, there are so many beautiful paintings that have been entrusted to us, and again, so much talent and artwork, and this is one of my favorites. If you've been to York the last 2 or 3 years, you've seen this one hanging in Angela's booth. This one is called Tin Kings, and this thing takes up about a third of my living room wall if I were to hang it. I mean, it is a massive painting, and again, oil on canvas, and it is just a gorgeous painting. And if you've seen Angela's work, you know how talented she is. And we just consider ourselves so honored to have this opportunity to represent these artists. I think there's a misconception that being an auctioneer, that it really is all about the auctioneer. And the reality is a lot of people forget, and even auctioneers tend to forget from time to time, we are working for our sellers. That's who I'm working for, is these artists and these families. And so, we consider ourselves so privileged to, again, have been entrusted by these families and these artists to represent their artwork. And we're excited to give you guys the opportunity to purchase it, whether it's a print, whether it's a full-size painting, And the challenge has been with the coronavirus. Originally, this was intended to be a live event that you could come and see the paintings, and I just don't think we're going to get to the point by June where we're going to be ready and feel comfortable to have a live event. But eventually, you will see live events built around this kind of artwork. But in the meantime, we've got a full catalog online for you to look at over at bidrar.com. We have 53 pieces in this inaugural auction, and so that catalog is completely online at bidrar.com. You can register to bid. You can absentee bid. You can bid live the night of the auction. If you'd like to phone bid, you of course can contact me through our website. We would be happy to work with you on the phone. And so we have a lot of different opportunities to get involved. And if you would like to own one of these paintings or prints, we would be happy to facilitate that. There are so many stories, and I've told this story a million times, but I think for me it is the epitome and the essence of my time with Richard Kuhn. And again, I've written this story out so many times over the last year since Dick's passing that it speaks to me how special it was for me, and that he still cared about Lionel. Back, probably it would have been late 2016, we were doing some work for the Madison Hardware story when the book was getting written and getting ready to come out. And I had a meeting with Dick, and the new Lionel catalog had just happened to come from the Lionel Collectors Club of America. And it had just come in the mail that day, and one of his office managers brought it into the conference room and set it down. And we were taking some pictures of some other items, and Dick, we didn't need him right that second. So Dick opened up the catalog and started thumbing through the catalog. And granted, this is 21 years after he sold Lionel, and Dick kind of beckoned me over to the side of the table while they were taking photos of some other stuff. And I kind of just knelt down beside him, and he was in his office chair, and he was probably 86, 87 at that time. And we just literally sat there for 5 minutes, just thumbing through the pages of the new Lionel catalog. And he would make a comment about what he liked, or things he thought could be improved, or what really struck him. And for me, that was just such a special experience that, again, 21 years after he walked away from the business and sold the company, that he still cared so much about the trains. And it was that way until the day he passed away. And anybody who knew Dick in that regard knew that he cared about this hobby in a way that a lot of us do. And Dick was just one of the people that was blessed enough to be given the means to really impact Lionel at a time where it really needed it. And so for us here at Rail and Road, to be entrusted with this opportunity to share some small pieces of his personal collection. And there's some other news that'll be coming from the family here in the coming months about the rest of the train collection that, there's some opportunities for you folks out there that if you appreciate what Dick did for the hobby, and you appreciate his legacy, and you want something that's tangible, we invite you to get involved in this auction, and hopefully you can own a piece of something that was special to him.
That's great, Derek, and we wish your auction nothing but the best. I'm sure it will be excellent, and you're already getting a bunch of painting requests that they should stock up on. the UP 1943, George Bush funeral train, American Spirit 1943 and 41-41 doubleheader. So you're getting a lot of good requests.
This will be the first of many auctions you see from us, and we're just excited to be here. And if you have questions about the auction or stuff that I didn't get to answer from you tonight, hop on over to our Facebook page or to our website. Shoot me a message. We'll be happy to answer any questions we didn't get to tonight. Ken, thanks for having us. Thank you for just continuing to lead at the forefront of this hobby by using technology to bring us all together in a time where we just can't get together. We just appreciate Train World and Trainland kind of leading the way and helping to organize this.
Thank you, Derek. And just like yourself, you also had a great podcast going and promoting the hobby. So we appreciate you as well. And we miss you at York at this time, but thankfully we're able to see you and still see what you're up to, and we appreciate. And and I guess it's time for our ice cream social break.
Yeah.
But that probably brings us to our next guest, and thank you, Derek, very much for joining us. Our next guest, and Lou is a great family friend, great person, and there are not enough words to describe Lou. And it was a challenge to get him onto this show, but thankfully we were able to get him in by phone because phone apparatuses weren't working with him or websites. But Lou, are you there?
Kenny, I'm here. Do you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear, and I had you on mute, so I hope you weren't talking this whole time.
I was talking to myself, so it didn't make any difference. It's the best guy I know to talk to. Listen, we're back by the magic of radio because, you know, as far as the video, you didn't miss much by seeing my mug anyhow. So the fact is, you're going to get just as much baloney here that you would have got on video. So everybody that's listening,
they want a cardboard cutout, Lou. They want a cardboard cutout.
Yes, of a muscular man. So we're fine. I think that we could share what I have to do verbally anyhow, because, you know, my dad always said that he thought I was vaccinated with a phonograph needle. So the thing is, I have always a lot to say, and especially when it comes to York. Now, I do not have anything to sell. This is strictly a reminiscence time. We talked about York, and I'm going to give you what I know in a capsule here.
There you go.
You know, this is the first time in 80 train meets, 40 years, that I haven't been to York in April. I've never missed a meet, and it's become part of my life. And I met many, many people during those years, and had many good memories that we have. And I'm going to start with some of the things that those of you that don't know, and I'm going to try to fill you in, and those of you who do know you would remember the early days of York. York is sponsored by the Eastern Division Train Collectors Association, and it's become what I think the biggest and best train meet of all time. It's been operating since the mid-70s. I think even the first meets were held in the 60s. But I've been attending over 40 years, and in the early days it was only 3 days, Friday and Saturday, and Thursday would be a setup time. So you would only have meets on Friday and Saturday. So prior to that, men would come probably 2 to 3 days early and stay in the different hotels, and we would sell trains. They call them car trunks. They would open up their trunks, especially in the Holiday Inn at the Billy Budd Holiday Inn. That strikes me to be the hot spot in the early 80s of train and late 70s. and people would come on Thursdays, especially, and to set up on Friday. They would open up their trunks, and guys would start buying trains out of the cars. That would float into the rooms, and they would sell trains on their beds. Guys would go up and down hallways looking at trains on beds in the rooms. And it was an exciting thing to the point where the hotels start saying, well, maybe we're going to have meets outside. So the Holiday Inn had a lot outside that guys would go in their cars, line up early in the morning, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, to get a table and a spot, and they would set their trains up on blankets in the field, and guys would be going with flashlights from spot to spot to buy trains.
Really?
That's how.
Wow.
That's how the train fever was hitting. The baby boomers were starting to get to the place where they were attending train meets, and the train fever really hit hard. In fact, you could see little Mike Wolf. He'd be standing behind a pickup truck full of parts that he bought at the Williams train company, and that's what started him off. Yeah. And many times Mike and I had tables next to each other there, and they would be selling. And there was Rich Foster there, and some of the same crew that's there now. They were selling parts with Mike, and Mike was very young. It's over 40 years ago.
Wow.
This was happening. So York really became a hot spot in the best train meet going. There was I don't know, they throw numbers 15, 16,000 people there during some of the heydays. I think that the count is a lot less now, but maybe in the 12,000 I hear. But I don't know, I can't help the numbers, but I know there's a lot of trains and a lot of people. So I would go there, and then it stretched out to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and that seems to be the way it has been going for the last 10 years. But we would have, I call it the mother of all train shows. In fact, I wrote about it. I write for Classic Toy Trains magazine, and in the 2007 issue, I wrote the column about the mother of all train shows and talked about the train meet at York, and I really liked that. And about each year, I've been writing for 13 years for the magazine. It's called Views from the Underground, and I try to put an article at least once a year about the York show, because to me, York is very special to me. I can recall your grandfather, Peter Bianco, my good friend I met at York, and he and I hit it off good because we're all old BSers, and we like trains, and we like Italian food. So I would meet with him at dinner at least one night during the show, and Pete and I would share the views of trains. I bought from Train World back in the late 70s stuff that was sold by your dad, Kenny.
Yeah,
he was a little young dude, and I loved York because one of the things I knew that I always would make money at York, because Peter would come with Kenny and Paulie, the two brothers, and they would pull wagons, and he'd go buy everything that I didn't sell after the York meet was over. He'd take it and get the big New York prices, because I couldn't sell it in Pittsburgh. I bought it, and he would clean me out and say, "Here you go, Louis. What do you got?" And the boys would come, and sometimes they'd take 2 and 3 wagon loads back to Pete's truck, and he'd haul them to New York and get them big New York prices out of everything, mail order. But I love Pete, and he and I both hit it off, and we have very, very, very many great memories I have with him.
Yep.
And and the Orange Hall is where I now hold court during every York train show. The Orange Hall is a beautiful hall. There's thousands of tables in there, and it has bathrooms in it. Because prior to the early days, I was in the Purple Hall. I was in the Red Hall and the White Hall, but the fact is I was in the Purple Hall for the most part. We didn't even have bathrooms. I had to run down to the main bathroom every time I had to go, and if I took a diuretic, I was in trouble, because I couldn't sell trains. I had to go run to the bathroom. Now we're okay. We have a good, a beautiful hall, and I like all the amenities there, food to eat, and it's air conditioned and heat. Because in the Orange Hall we had chicken coops. We used to line in the Purple Hall. We lined our tables up, and there were chicken coops in there that they moved in from the farm shows. And you got to watch how you couldn't leave food on the table, because it would serve as a meal for the mice at night. So it's going to more.
I don't know if you want to be telling people. It's a little...
That's true. No, in the Purple Hall, it was so bad that you had to cover your trains at night, not so somebody wouldn't steal it, that the rain would come. So we had to do plastic covers over the rain would come, and it would leak onto the trains. So the Purple Hall was really, really pretty pathetic. But we had sold a lot of trains out of the Purple Hall. Your dad and them, they were in the Yellow Hall, which was under the bandstand, the grandstand. And that was where all the dealers were. Train World, MTH, Lionel, they were all in the Yellow Hall. We liked the Yellow Hall, and we'd go there to see what the big boys had to sell. And we had all the little halls around. It started with 3 halls at York, and it ended up, I think there's 8 now, filled with trains, filled with guys. It's become a religion to me, because I say that Christmas comes 3 times a year. 2 Yorks and the regular Christmas. Now we got hooked out of one this year, and I'm hoping we're there in October. And I'm rooting, because I don't want any second waves and all that stuff. We'll be blown out of a whole year. But the fact is, York has become a thing that everybody has to go to, and I'm really glad that you are recognizing it here, because with the magazine, we constantly try to promote the York Train Show, because it's part of the hobby, and I'm an ambassador for the hobby. I do that because we love the hobby. It's something that everyone has something in common with, because I think without trains right now during this virus, I could see my mail order, my phone orders, people are still buying trains. And I think it's partly because they're tied up and holed up in their homes. And I think they're getting, one guy called and told me he spent 4 days dusting his layout off. He hadn't dusted it for years. He took every piece off and dusted it because he had nothing else to do. And now he dusted his layout for 4 days. But I think we're starting to run out of things to do, and we got to get back to work and get back into the system. But this whole thing is politically to the point where I don't have any comment on it, because I don't know what to say, and that's pretty hard for get that out of me, having nothing to say. But the fact is, I do know that we love the hobby, and New York is one of the mainstays of promoting the hobby. One of the things that I tribute the train hobby to the guys that I meet. I sit on my corner of my table down at the Orange Hall, and constantly a flow of guys that read my column, and they want to comment about how I relate to them, and it looks like I'm talking for them, and I am, because it's easy to write to people. It's like preaching to the choir, because they're writing about trains and the York, and I put 2 books out. I am going to put a plug in for both of my books. For those of you that don't have them, you're a sorry person, because I think you'd be a lot better if you did have my books. One is I Never Met a Train I Didn't Like, and the other is, I don't know what the hell a copy is. Oh, yeah, there. I'm just kidding you. Back in the day, growing up in the 50s, and that's my book about growing up in the 50s. A lot of stories. They're all easy to read, because my articles are 550 words. That's about 3/4 of a magazine page, and I attribute that to be the attention span of my readers, because basically after somebody reads more than a page, they don't read the rest. I know when I read a magazine article, I look at it. If it says continued on page down in the lower right hand, page 55 or 60, I don't read it because I just want to read what's on that page because I'm too busy.
Yep.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm busy. And that's what the book is like. It has a lot of short stories, stuff that you can read. I call it a bathroom book because you could put it in there and read a couple of chapters and put it down and leave. But the fact is, I have sold many of the books, and I do that at York. I autograph them. For what, I don't know, but they like me to write on them, so I write on them. Anyhow, the books are doing well. And I do still sell a lot of decals, the replacement decals for the trains. But most of all, I bring good post-war trains and stuff that people had. And one thing I tell people that go to York, all dealers, they say, well, I didn't have a good train show. I said, well, why didn't you have a good train show? Well, I didn't sell anything. I said, let me see. I said, well, that's the same stuff you had last time. Yeah. I said, well, you keep on bringing the same stuff to the same people. They aren't going to buy them because 90% of the people who were here this time were here last time. So if they didn't buy last time, either you lower your price or bring some new stuff. And that seems to be what I try to do is bring new items every time because there are a lot of the same people that come to York, and I love them all. But the fact is, you try to meet what they have. But basically, I go there to meet the people, to talk with our guys. It's just an enjoyable couple days meeting with our friends in the same hobby. We have a common thread amongst all of us. Yeah. And that's what it is. And we notice that. I know that I say that I call all of the train buyers and train customers, I call them a bunch of fifth graders. And that's what they remind me of. When they come in that train show, their eyes are all big and blind. They're like a fifth grader's going on a scavenger hunt. And you probably even know what a scavenger hunt is.
Yep.
And what it is what we used to go find stuff and bring it, and they would give us the challenges to find things, and we were that age. And that was an age when we had a purity amongst ourselves. The guys weren't thinking of anything else but what they were going to go find that day and go home at night. There were no wars, there were no bills, there were no income taxes and things. That's all we had in our mind. And these guys coming in the train show reminded me of that. They're looking for their great find, and they leave everything at the door and come in and look for trains to buy and keep for their hobby and relive a little bit of their past. It brings a little bit of their days gone by when everything was good with the world and we were all just kids. And I think that's what the whole crust of the hobby is. It's for people to go and buy an object, an item, a picture, whatever else we have, and we try to get to our feelings, that nostalgia. And that's a Greek word for returning home. Nostalgia.
Heary.
And I think that's what they do. And this is what...
Lou, Rich Foster is saying you owe him a beer at the next York.
I owe him a beer. It won't be the first one I gave him. Don't worry, Bob. I've been knowing him a long, long time, and it's really remarkable how those guys have stayed with the business, the MTH business, and Mike is a good guy, and those guys must be paid pretty well to hang around that long. That's all I can say. They make a lot of money, those guys. And the fact is, I'm glad for them. And I think that
you're a hall captain, Lou?
I am the hall captain. I've been
hall
there
captain.
From the time that they opened the Orange Hall in the early 90s. That was opened. Beautiful hall. Yep. And what I do is referee fights. That's my job. I'm going to wear a striped shirt one of these times. But no, the guys know the rules. And then the fact is, they're there for basically 99 and 9/10 of the guys are great people. You got a couple oddballs, but they blend in after a while.
I like how you're straight to the point, Lou. You don't cut any corners. And Michael is also saying, and I agree with him, he likes the scavenger hunt analogy, and that's true about York. You know, you go into York looking for that one item or two items, and you go to every single dealer in the hall. Just, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? And until you find it. And so that's a nice analogy.
It's the hunt. It's not the kill. That's what it is. It's the thrill of the hunt.
Yeah.
And that's what they look for. And I met a guy the other day. He was selling. I got 1,000 stories. I mean, you don't have enough video to do all this. But anyhow,
Mike is running out of battery, so he's hoping that he gets a chance to talk, Lou. We're gonna have to do a whole nother special with just Lou.
You can listen. The last story. There was the last one. The guy was saying he was selling his train collection, and he said, you know what? I said, what are you selling it for? He said, well, I don't know. I got tired of this. I said, don't sell it. Take it with you. You know what? You can take it with you. Just have it there when you're dead, and then give it to your kids, because you got to have it. He said, you know, I got seller's remorse. And that's the opposite of buyer's remorse. He's sad for all the stuff he sold. And I said, don't sell your trains. Keep your trains as long as you need them. The only time you sell them is if you need a loaf of bread.
That's it.
So I think that's how I'm going to end this conversation. I think you all know where I'm at, the Underground Railroad Shop. It's in. You can get my on my email. trainplum@yahoo.com. I answer all the emails, and I got nothing else to do now. And the fact is, I'm looking to see you guys and all my friends, and tell your dad I said hello, and we'll till we meet again, right, Kenny? Sorry about the video.
No problem, but we're gonna have to redo this and have the stories of Lou, and just go all week for you, and dry out of all those stories that some of them you probably can't even say over air.
That's true. That is true. And the fact is, tomorrow I'm going out and buy a new computer, because I got to get something that takes a picture like all you big guys. I have this little thing here. I think it was bought at a flea market somewhere.
There you go.
Where I got it.
And Mike's really good at tech support, so I'll give you Mike's personal cell phone number so he can help.
I got his number.
Okay, you call Mike. There you go.
Thank you very much for your initial. I hope the audio worked out good for your show.
Thank you, Lou. You're truly like family, and we appreciate everything you've done for the hobby. And yes, at Lou's age, he could say whatever he wants, and that's true. Lou is a straight shooter, and we appreciate.
Unfortunately, thank you very much, Kenny. Good night to everybody.
Right. Good night. Thank you for hanging in and sticking with us, Lou. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And so that was Lou Palumbo, and very good friend, and we appreciate him for joining us, and appreciate the kind comments with him on. And just want to go over a couple of comments. A lot of people asked about restaurants at York, and unfortunately Alexander's has been closed down, and Coombs was taken over. So hopefully that clarifies the food topics of York. So I appreciate that. And but we do have a very special tag team duo coming up, and TW TrainWorks. They have some of the most incredible layouts, just phenomenal. And you've probably seen it at Warren Buffett's shareholder meetings, or some of these extravagant homes, and just unbelievable stuff. So we got Roger and Mike. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Thanks. We're glad to be here. Lou's a hard act to follow, but we'll do our best.
Maybe if I talk real slow, we have it better.
We got to upgrade Lou with a high-speed computer next time. He's still living on the dial-up connections, but
Yeah, he is.
That's for sure.
Indeed, that's funny. It's pretty funny. I got to tell you, Kenny, before this thing went live, I had some really good laughs. That was great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Needed that.
we actually should have shown the pre I guess meeting ID. It was all of us on, and Lou kept on trying to get on, and it was just play that sound, Mike. The dial-up connection on your phone.
Oh
if you
yeah,
have it. But
it's gone. It's gone.
it's that
Yeah.
old
That
AOL
dial-up sound. Yeah.
It was hysterical. We love you, Lou, and thankfully you were able to I guess call in. And but it's great to have an old timer on and share his stories. But so TW TrainWorks, I mean, you guys are the best when it comes to building layouts.
Thank you.
Well, we really appreciate that. Yeah, we have quite a reputation, and it's one that we work really hard to keep up. It is about the customer service and listening to our clients and applying everything we're learning from them to the layouts we build. And whether it's a Berkshire Hathaway or if it's even a 5x9, I mean, we do a full range of layouts and enjoy doing every one of them. One of the things that you had asked for us to possibly show off was some of the layouts we have in process. Mike has a small one in his shop in Concord. We have a little bit larger one right here on the floor, and we'll swing over and take a look at that in just a moment. And of course, the other thing is the buildings, the structures, the custom bridges that people ask us to do for their layouts, very personalized pieces. But at the same time, we've turned many of the things that we see in traveling and riding on trains, going to train museums, going to stations every time we travel, and recreating those. And we have a lot of structure, and I appreciate the hat tips from just about everybody here. I know that Alan, like he said, he has a number of our buildings and trestles, I believe, on his layout. And obviously working with Jeb has done a number of our kits, put them together, done some beautiful weathering and additions, kit bashing to them. And it's been a wonderful relationship with everybody here. We enjoy participating because it is a community, and it is like Derek said, you're passionate about it. It's not, this is not a business that you get into to, like you said, Derek, make a lot of money. It's really not about that. It's about creating. We love to create, and we love to take those personal memories and personal experiences of our clients and our own, and applying that to the work that we do. So that being said, I think that what we're probably going to do first is take a look at one of the tables that we have under construction. Now, this is very elementary because we've been in quarantine just like everybody else. Right now, the work that's being done construction-wise is the more of the work that Mike is doing. We've got a layout here that we just had done the initial base work and tabletop, but we thought the style and the work that we do, the process was worth looking at. So my buddy and partner and pal, Train Dame, is going to take the video. Hello.
Okay, I'm going to go here, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That'd be good. And,
you should introduce you, Dorsey.
I know. Hi, I'm Train Dame, also Dorsey. Hold on, I need to provide some technical help here.
Roger just passed you off.
I know. Okay, here we are. Yeah, and this is the design. And there's the guy right here, George. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, this is initially when a client asks us to come in and talk to them, speak to them about their ideas. We'll create a concept, we do a track plan, and
apply those ideas into a rendering. So we'll work up a drawing that shows what the experience that we're going to create in their train room is going to be like. So this is a 18-foot by 11-foot layout. It's this is all oak finish. The finish on this one is all going to be natural wood. There's a lot of display shelves. You have a lot of trains. And all of the structures, or most of the structures, are actually elements from his life. So it's his Big Spring, Texas, Dallas, the station in Big Spring. There's going to be hotels, the station in Dallas.
Yeah, Dorsey, just be careful not to mute the speaker while you're showing everything off.
Can you hear him?
Yeah, we could hear you now.
Okay.
Okay. So you're on there?
Yep.
Okay. So this is the raw tabletop, and we've actually done a full-size print of the table, so that of the plan, the track plan. So as we're working initially placing the track on it, we're making sure that we're sticking to the original plan and space. The table itself is done with white pine framing, and we use pine because of its tensile strength. We also, underneath, I think you can see where the I don't know, Dorsey, if you can get a little closer and actually look up inside, you'll see how we do all the slotting for our wire chase. All of the wires, all of our cables. I don't know if you can see up here, Dorsey.
I'm moving up closer.
Okay. All of our wires.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, all the wires are routed through those
Here comes George.
cable chases.
This is where George lives, on his back, underneath the table.
And I think that the most exciting thing, as you look at it, is how much space there is underneath the table, how open it is. We use an I-beam frame. Again, this is done out of white pine, and legs that are essentially a pony wall, a framed wall just like you would in a house, with diagonal bracing to make it very secure. It's very lightweight, and it's obviously very modular in that it can all be unbolted, all be put back together. This this style of construction comes from our theatrical experience. I don't know if any of you go online, you find out about our history as a company, my experience starting out as a set designer. And we designed all types of shows, musicals, plays, operas, and we had to make things in shop that were extremely large, that then got taken apart, put into a truck, and then went from city to city to do the show. Another thing that you can see here on this table, this particular model, is a custom model that we're doing for a client, a museum in Plano, Texas. And this is one of the churches that was in Plano, and it will be on an interurban layout that they have in the museum. The museum is actually the original Plano interurban station. A lot of people comment about the many churches that we do for our various clients, and this church is an example of that. At the same time, if we could now cut over to Mike, I think he's set up to show you a number of the other buildings and other structures that are going to be in this museum. And then we'll move on to some other things here.
Boom, boom, boom. Here you go, Mike.
Well, is that my segue?
Yep.
That was it.
All right. Great. I missed you putting your thumb in your nose, so I got to ask. That was our signal, but it didn't work. Okay, so I apologize for the garage shots here, but this is my workshop. So here's one of the, this is the Plano High School that was in Plano, Texas back in the 1920s.
Beautiful.
Thank you. So this is a scale model of that building designed by one of our model builders in Dallas, and we cut and built it here. There's another one that's called the Mitchell House, another historic house from Plano, Texas. So any of these buildings like this, customers out there that want looking for something special for their layout, something from their past, something that sticks out in their mind. We can basically build all this stuff from scratch. There's another house that's in Plano. So I believe they pronounce it Sagling House, something like that. But again, scale model of that. Regardless of what it is, if it's big, if it's small, if it's significant to you, we can definitely handle that type of model building for anybody, and really any scale. I mean, obviously we like to work in O scale, but we'll work in whatever scale you want. Roger emails me this morning and says, "Hey, we're doing this York Live event with Kenny. We got to have something new to show. Let's make this new cell tower." I'm like, "Thanks, Roger. It's 8:30 in the morning, and now I've got more work on my plate than I know what to do with. So here's our new cell tower. Don't ask me how much it is because I had to cut it twice." But that's
very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you think Lou will get some reception from there?
With dial-up, there's no, you don't see any cables, do you? And so let's see. I threw this together for you. So here's, some of the buildings you've seen in York in the past. One of our other kits, the Cameron Freight Company. Got a little rail door on it. And this is something new we've been working on. I've been monkeying with this for a while. This is a freight transfer dock for, a lot of guys are in the trains or in the trucks. So I figured let's do something to use them. And
these buildings are legit. They're not like cheap, phony buildings. These are just unbelievable. They look real, like just on a smaller scale.
Yeah, they're all laser cut out of MDF and some other materials that we use. But it really, the assembly is pretty simple. I actually like to refer to them as a hybrid craftsman kit. A craftsman kit takes you back to the days of HO scale, like fine scale miniatures, with all that white metal castings and the individual basswood strips that you use to put the kit together that you go crazy with. This is basically, in terms of detail, is the same, but in terms of construction, super simple. I mean, a little bit of Type Bond 2 and some super glue, and 2 hours, you got this thing together, and you can go to town painting it. And all of these buildings that you see here, they're all painted with acrylics. Them cheap little craft paints that you get at the craft store for like $1. So there's no hook, line, and sinker to get you to buy $15 paints. It's pretty simple.
Like Mike was saying, the simplicity of, and that's not the shot we want you to see right now, but what we're in all of what we're doing, we'll get this right. We're putting that detail into the kits themselves. So when you buy a fence kit, the stringers are already laid out on pieces so that you don't have to put plank on board. You can buy a kit and you spend the next week just sorting out the pieces that you have to put a fence together. Well, we make it simple.
Here, let me do this now.
We're just going to switch the camera one more time. We'll go over to the table.
Okay.
But this is a sample of like our picket fence kit or large fence kit. But you can see how this is all done so that there's a stringer and there's a small, tiny, imperceptible little tab that holds all these together. So it's very simple to put a complete fence together. We also include a jig in the kit so that the holes, you can just lay the jig on the table, use an X-Acto knife if you have a foam type surface or a small drill, and drill your holes, drop your fence into it. we'll jump back to Mike. I think you have a few more things to show.
Nope, you stole all my thunder, Farkash.
Oh.
I got nothing more for you. Oh,
Yes, you
darn.
do.
Here's this train layout that we're building. I guess we could talk about that briefly.
Oh, yeah, you're there.
This is a Hellgate applique that we're putting on the front of the table. I apologize for me quickly rigging it up, but I walked out in the shop and realized I failed to do that earlier today, so just kind of threw that together.
That's
And
great.
then
Look at that.
this is just the edging. Customer wanted that pre-war dealer display style rock work on the edge of the table. So worked on that yesterday. It's just drying up today. But and it's just a small. I mean, it's 5 foot by 6 foot. I mean, it's not a very big layout at all. But it doesn't matter. And like Roger talked about with the framing, table this size gets the same type of framing that all of our other bigger layouts do. Here's a shot from the backside. You can't really see too well, but the raceways are in there. Our wire chases are in there. In fact, his transformer and his legacy base fit into cabinets, built in right on the side of his benchwork. Or his base rather. So he's got a little river there in the middle. Get this out of the way. And actually, I do have one more thing to talk about, and then I'll let Roger and Dorsey take the show. So at York in October, Lionel took one of the displays that TW had built for them years ago, and they had done some remodeling to it. But one of the things they had on it was our elevated system, which is basically consists of this truss rail that comes in 8-foot strips and is fully flexible, and these trestles that the elevated system sits on. So we have all that available on our website, single track as well as double track as well, and 2 different style girders, or what do we call these things?
Truss rail.
Truss rails, yeah.
Which track will that fit, Mike?
All of them.
Okay.
All of them, yeah. And so as far as the road bed's concerned, we can custom cut a road bed for you that looks like this, so you get more of that elevated railroad look. Or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, just cut it out of plywood or MDF, and you can screw these supports to it. There's a couple of screws there that screw the support, and some screws on the side to put that truss rail right on the side of it. It's like a 1/2 inch thick, so 1/2 inch material, and you're good to go. So that's just something that we offer that a lot of people don't know about, I guess is probably the best way to put it. But whatever you got, whether you want to suspend it from a ceiling, mount it on your railroad to just have an elevated track above your layout, we can do it all. There's pretty much nothing we can't do. Except I take that back. The one thing we can't do is we can't help Lou Palumbo get off dial-up. Nobody's going to help that guy with that.
That's it. Hopefully we could get him back up. And Mike, also Rich Foster, he's talking a big game. I mean, he just made 2 comments that you may want to hear.
Have you ever seen Rich? He's tall, but he's about as skinny as a rail.
Well, it's funny because
no choice but to talk tough.
He was actually saying there's a rumor saying he beat you up under the grandstand at York.
Yeah, that's probably that yeah. I'm gonna let you guys judge that one.
And then he said Andy Edelman actually dunked on you in a basketball competition.
Clearly.
Yep. One-on-one game.
Ask Andy if he has anything in his eye. It's probably attached to his right hand.
Are those bells we hear? I'll get you out of this. Are those bells we hear?
Just some
those
of
are
the
bells.
fun,
Actually,
fun
the people on Facebook
from,
are almost asleep at this point, so wake them up, Dorsey.
That's
Okay.
it.
Bells, not fighting bells. What kind of bells are these?
Yeah, wedding bells, I guess. But a lot of you are familiar with the old plastic bill, Bachman type of church. I'd really kind of call it more of a chapel. People have been admiring the various churches that we do. So what we've done is we've taken the old Plasticville and we've kit bashed it. Ta-da! So we've turned it into what looks like a real church, far more appropriate scale. Actually, these people can walk through a single side of that door. You don't have to open both sides there. When we have the kit completed, it's going to come complete with stained glass windows. Actually, it's not glass, but you get the idea. And it will have the little LED light kit included in the church. Again, we've been working under quarantine. The guys are essentially working from home in terms of our designers. They've been working on all the kits you saw, or the structures you saw that Mike has been assembling. And obviously Mike has been working on kits as well. We just want to show a few of the kits. I know he showed the Cameron Cartage House, and he also showed the small warehouse, which has been selling really well. And Doris is going to be putting together one of her Train Day Steal the Deals. So make sure you go to the store or drop us an email. We've got the fence kits. We also have our chain. This, by the way, is 4 feet of fence. So that's not 4 1-to-1. This is 4 feet of fence. And the chain link, unfortunately, I don't have the sample. I thought Mike was going to have the model sample of this.
This is the part where you need to pay attention when I'm speaking.
Okay. And what this is? Oh, okay.
Again, you got to pay attention, Farkash.
There you go. There you go. So
Thanks, Reagan.
Thanks, Reagan. And this is 5 feet of fence in the kit. It also has signs like no trespassing, government property. It has a rolling opening and closing gate to it with wheels. Another one of our small kits that are really popular is our service racks. And these come 2 to a kit. They really don't take that long to put together. They're very simple, but very, very realistic looking. And really span any era. You can put it in with steam engines and obviously with a diesel like we have here. But a lot of fun stuff. And again, Doris would be have a special. And if you, it's a steal of a deal. That's what she does. And it's going to be 15% off of all of our online products. So 15% off of all of our online products.
Get
and
closer.
The code, I don't know if you can see this.
The code, go ahead.
The code is VY
For Virtual York.
2020. Okay, and you do that at checkout. That's the code.
And it's TW TrainWorks, and TrainWorks is TRAINWORX store.com. And I'll write this in the comments for you all. But the code at checkout is VY for Virtual York 2020. And I'll put in the website for our online store. And you can take advantage of this until June 1st.
Because we're hoping that the governor is going to say, let's get back to work.
Let's get back at it.
Yeah. And by mid-May is what they're talking about.
Do you hear something? Hey, Roger.
I do. We have something really special.
Here comes a surprise.
In April, at the end of April every year, we have a contract with Burlington Northern Santa Fe. Sorry, it's that quarantine is driving me nuts here. The Berkshire Hathaway event, the shareholders meeting, is the first weekend, or the first weekend of May. And now for 10 years, we've been doing a display. So we had it all prepped. They canceled the Berkshire Hathaway meeting for obvious reasons, but you get to go to the meeting.
Let's do it.
You get to see BNSF.
Let's do it.
Corporate layout.
I think George has the trains running. Woo-hoo! Oh, here it comes.
Wow, beautiful. Very cool. And just to provide some commentary, BNSF is one of the largest railroads, probably if not the largest railroad in America. And actually Berkshire Hathaway, who's run by Warren Buffett, many of people know him as probably the the financial wizard guru of finance. And Roger actually builds the layout that they make or promote during the Berkshire Hathaway shareholders meeting, which is a huge event. Millions of people go there. So it's just a fabulous thing that they have done, and it helps promote trains throughout the world and throughout the industry. So it's a great thing that both Warren Buffett has put together, and also Roger and his team has done to promote the whole industry.
So Kenny, this is great, man. We really appreciate you taking the time to put this virtual York tour together and including us in it. We hope that everyone out there is staying safe and healthy, and hopefully we'll see you guys in York in October.
Yeah, thank you guys, everyone. Derek, Jeb, TrainWorks team, Alan, Lou, thank you all so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we know that you guys weren't able to physically go to York, but we hope that we brought York in something, a little bit of York, the taste of York, of virtual York over to you in your home. And we wish you and your family to be safe. We thank all the frontliners, staff, hospital staff, everyone working hard out there. We appreciate it. And tomorrow we have another special York event. We have Atlas, Williams, MTH, Lionel, all attending the same time, 7 o'clock, same channel. So make sure you guys join us as well. And thank you guys so much for attending, listening. The model train industry has some of the best customers, patrons, friends, family out there that we appreciate all you guys. We couldn't do this without you. This viewing has been through the charts, so we appreciate nearly 500 viewers at a time. So this is definitely going to hit the record books for train meets throughout the world. So we really appreciate everyone joining, and thank you guys, the participants, and hopefully you could all support all of us, and we appreciate everything. And we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you,
everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, seeing you. Thanks, Kenny.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Be safe, everybody.
Be safe.